Something moves on the wall. You didn't see what. Your eye caught motion, low and fast, and your body was already responding before any part of you had decided anything. Your heart rate climbed, your muscles set. Somewhere in you, a decision was made that you were not consulted about. Then you looked. It's a spider, smaller than a coin. It has no interest in you. It cannot meaningfully hurt you, and it was never going to. And you reacted like something was trying to kill you. There is an answer for this. You've heard it. It's in every article and every video on the subject, and it is repeated with enormous confidence. It rests on a study that does not say what people say it says. Go back far enough, and our ancestors are on an open landscape in East Africa. Some of the spiders there are venomous. There is no anti-venom, no medicine, no hospital. A bite could kill you, and the people who noticed a spider fastest, who flinched first and asked questions later, were the people who lived long enough to have children. Over hundreds of thousands of years, the flinch became standard equipment. It stopped being a thing you learned and became a thing you inherited. It's in your genome. It's why the reaction arrives before the thought. Nobody repeating this ever stops to ask how many people spiders actually killed. It is a good story, it's clean, it explains everything, and it makes you feel less foolish about the shoe in your hand. And in 2017, a study appeared to prove it. At the Max Planck Institute for Human Cognitive and Brain Sciences, researchers gathered 48 infants, 6 months old. Consider what that age means. These babies had never seen a horror film. They had never watched a parent shriek and climb onto a chair. They had absorbed nothing. Whatever was in them from the start. The infants sat in their parents' laps. The parents wore opaque glasses so they couldn't see the images and couldn't react. An infrared tracker measured the one thing a 6-month-old cannot fake: the size of their pupils. They were shown spiders. They were shown flowers. At spiders, the pupils widened to 0.14 millimeters. At flowers, 0.03, nearly 5 times the response. The headlines wrote themselves. Babies too young to have learned fear were afraid anyway. It was proof. The dread was ancestral, hardwired, waiting in every one of us at birth. Except the experiment had a second half. The same researchers ran a second comparison: snakes against fish. If the human brain carries a dedicated detector for the things that hunted our ancestors, snakes should trip it violently. Snakes have killed more people than spiders ever have. Snakes are the textbook ancestral threat. The infants looked at a snake the way they looked at a fish. Minimal difference. The detector did not go off. That should have been the end of the headline. It wasn't reported. Then there's the deeper problem, and it sits underneath everything. Pupil dilation is not fear, it's arousal, attention. The pupil widens when the brain sharpens focus, and it does this for anything sudden, anything complex, anything worth looking at. The researchers were careful about this in the paper. They wrote that the dilation indicated arousal and increased focused attention. They noted themselves that it might simply mean the infant had registered something alive. And then a commentary was published in the same journal that took the whole thing apart. It pointed out that the researchers had offered no evidence, none, from zoology or from the fossil record, that spiders were ever meaningfully dangerous to primates in the first place. The entire evolutionary premise was asserted, not demonstrated. Then it noted something almost embarrassing in its simplicity. The pictures of the spiders were more visually complex than the pictures of the flowers. More legs, more edges, more detail. And pupil dilation is known to track complexity. It has been known for decades. The babies may have had wider pupils because the picture had more going on in it. Even the lead researcher, in her own words, said something far more modest than what the world reported. The reaction, she said, predisposes us to learn these animals as dangerous or disgusting. A predisposition to learn, that is not the same thing as being born afraid. It is close to the opposite. Set the study aside. Look at the threat. There are roughly 50,000 known species of spider. Fewer than 0.5% are considered medically significant to a human being. In the United States, spider bites kill somewhere around 7 people a year, and even that figure is soft. Verified fatalities attributed to a specific species are remarkably hard to find. Alcohol kills 100,000. Now think about what actually killed the people you're descended from. Contaminated water, infection in a small wound, childbirth, cold, hunger, other humans frequently and deliberately. These things killed constantly, everywhere, for the entire span of human existence. Nobody screams at a puddle. There is no phobia of dirty water, no universal dread of a cut on the hand, no inherited terror of the neighboring village. The things that emptied our villages inspire nothing, and a creature that has never posed a serious threat to anyone in this room can stop a grown adult in a doorway. So if it isn't a fear of danger, what is it? Here's the part nobody tells you. Ask a person who is frightened of spiders what precisely frightens them. Ask them to be specific. They don't say the bite. They almost never say the bite. They say the way it moves, the legs, too many of them moving out of sync, the hairiness, the stillness, then the sudden run. None of that is a description of danger. That's a description of something being wrong, and that's a different system entirely. Disgust did not evolve to keep you away from predators. It evolved to keep you away from rot, from contamination, from the things that grow in dark corners near dead matter. Spiders live in exactly those places and move in a way nothing else moves. They register as unclean before they register as dangerous. Fear you can reason with. You can be told the odds. You can talk yourself down. You cannot talk yourself out of revulsion. That's why it doesn't respond to the statistics. That's why knowing the spider is harmless changes nothing at all. And disgust, unlike a reflex, is mostly taught. Watch a child who hasn't been told yet. They reach for it. Then watch what happens the first time they reach for it in front of someone who flinches. A study of news coverage found that nearly half of all spider stories contain outright factual errors, and a similar share are written to alarm. A parent gasps. A sibling shrieks and stands on a chair. A film makes the spider the thing in the dark. You absorb all of it long before you can evaluate any of it, and it settles in a place that arguments don't reach. Easy to learn, almost impossible to unlearn. It was never in your genome. It was in the room. You were told you were born with this. You weren't. You were taught it patiently by people who were taught it themselves in a chain that goes back and arrives finally at no one in particular. The fear has no origin. It only has transmission. The spider on the wall is not hunting you. It never was. It has been in the corner of every room you've ever stood in, eating the things that actually bite you, and it has never once meant you harm. You reacted anyway. Before you had a thought, before you had a chance. Which raises a harder question, and it isn't about spiders. What else do you feel certain you were born knowing? If you want to know what else your mind does without asking you what it deletes and why that's a mercy, click our linked video. Until next time, stay curious.